And here is somebody who has, that's Atiku, who has craved to become the president for so many times. He contested against Obasanjo. He contested against Atiku, his own fellow tribesman. He contested against Goodluck Jonathan. Now he contested against Tinubu. I think in Atiku's morality, nothing matters so long as it concerns his presidential ambition. And this is the problem with most of our leaders. They lack the ability to place the interests of the nation above their personal interest.
The road to 2027 is on fire and the stakes has never been higher. Rumors claimed Atiku Abubakar was ready to step aside, but today he's made it clear he is not backing down. He insists he is still in the race, clinching to power after decades in politics. But Nigerians are asking, where is the space for the youth? Where is the chance for fresh leadership? Our nation doesn't need recycled ambitions. We need a new vision. And that vision is Peter Obi, the symbol of hope, the symbol of credibility, and the symbol of real change. Stay with me because what I'm about to reveal will check the 2027 political battlefield to his full foundation. And before we dive in, hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe because together we are building the movement for a new Nigeria.
When you look at Tinubu and the antecedents that led to his becoming the president, what you will immediately recall is that the spirit of self-entitlement. He said it was his turn, and it was the turn of the Yorubas. Now, there are people who crave so much for something, and when they eventually get that thing, they lost the very essence of why they fought for that thing. And that is the case of Tinubu. He wanted power so much that when he eventually got it, he didn't know what to do with it. Rather than place the interest of the nation above his personal interest, his crave for his megalomania was far more weighty than the desire to save this country. Now, if we have gotten those antecedents right, what about Atiku? Is he doing anything different from what Tinubu did when he craved and cried for power? Now, here is somebody who has, that's Atiku, who has craved to become the president for so many times. He contested against Obasanjo. He contested against Atiku, his own fellow tribesman. He contested against Goodluck Jonathan. Now he contested against Tinubu. I think in Atiku's morality, nothing matters so long as it concerns his presidential ambition. And this is the problem with most of our leaders. They lack the ability to place the interests of the nation above their personal interest. I voted for Atiku when the choice was between Buhari and Atiku. I felt he was a lesser devil. And I actually believed him when he said that the only reason why he is contesting in the PDP was because the PDP refused to zone it to the southeast. Now, you have an opportunity to prove that what you said in PDP is true. Otherwise, it was just a lie. Now, not to take anything away from Atiku, I like his liberality. I like the fact that he's not an extremist Muslim, but any politician who does not embrace the realism on ground has a far more sinister agenda. For instance, he knows, that a Peter Obi's flag bearing of the party ADC sells more than an Atiku's flag bearing of the party. So why the ruckus? As a matter of fact, there's no need to be any ruckus in selecting who should become the flag bearer. For me, Amechi in that circle is just a joker. He knows very well that he stands no chance to take the party into victory. Now, at the risk of sounding, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not controversial. At the risk of trying to sound to bring Atiku down, I want to say the truth. I know the Northeast has not produced a president. The Southeast has not produced a president, and so is the North Central. So everybody has an entitlement to fight to say, yes, we need a president. But for me, why I believe that it is more prudent to allow the Southeast to have a shot at the presidency is because of the many positives it will bring to the governance of this country. Number one, the positivity of inclusiveness. For once, the Igbos will feel their inclusiveness in this country they have long described as a zoo. So we'll give them the zoo to manage. Hopefully, they can manage it into a reasonable society. Since they believe that management has been done poorly, we'll give them the country to put it in a way that we can also assess if we can call it a jungle or maintain the nomenclature of it being a zoo. Secondly, a Peter Obi's presidency for me is I hope will be a far departure from this looting, free looting for everybody. Remember the APC said once you come to APC, your sins are forgiven. Now, judging from the person and character of Peter Obi, I expect that corruption will be reduced to its barest minimum. We want every kobo of the national cake to be accounted for. That I see a Peter Obi representing well. But more importantly, again, after all these positivities, is the empathy for the sufferings of the masses. I want a president that relates, that understands what the masses are going through. And that I see more in Peter Obi than all these pretenders. So I really wish Atiku can understand that, well, you have attained the pinnacle of leadership. You have attained the pinnacle of success. You have attained the summit that any living person can pray to attain. What else do you want? And sometimes you can make changes, not necessarily being a leader. You can make changes also by being in the sideline. And a Peter Obi's presidency, hoping that the North for the first time will vote outside their northern proclivity, will go a long way to show that we are indeed one, since they are the one that always cry or sing the nomenclature of one Nigeria. Let us test it. Atiku, this is the time to show the world that you are far bigger than your personal ambition. This is the time to show the world that you can make changes and bring this nation together by sacrificing your personal ambition. The choice is yours, your personal ambition or the unity of the country. Wait for you to make your choice.
Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has debunked widespread reports suggesting he pledged to step down for a younger candidate in the 2027 presidential election, insisting his position has been fundamentally misrepresented. In a statement issued on Tuesday by his spokesman, Paul Ibe, Atiku's camp described the media interpretation of his recent BBC Hausa service interview as inaccurate and misleading. The statement clarified that what Atiku actually said was that young people, as well as other prospective presidential aspirants, are free to enter the contest, and that if a young candidate were to emerge through a competitive primary, he would readily support such a candidate without hesitation.
Wasu na ganin cewa lokaci ya ja, ba wani ba shi bane karan farko ka sha fitowa a wannan takara amma ba ka samu, ga shekaru suna karuwa. Ba ka ganin kamar lokaci ya da zaka iya daga matasa kafa ka ba su dama?
Ai ba kana so ba. Wa yana so, ba wani wanda yana so.
Amma ba ku jawo su jiki ba, ku nuna masa hanya.
Ai jam'iyyar da muka dauka yanzu ai matasa da mata muka saka a gaba.
Yanzu aka cika hakuri ka ba wani matashi zaka ba shi dama?
Wannan magana daban ne, idan na ce zan tsaya matashi ya kada ni shikenan sai in karba. Ai ba mu kai wannan wurin ba tukun.
Well, that was Atiku Abubakar's BBC interview. Well, Paul Ibe further clarified that after a thorough review of both the video and the transcripts of the interview, in the original Hausa and English translation, it is evident that at no point did the former vice president expressly state, suggest, or even imply that he intends to step down for anyone. And I'd like to read some tweets now. This is from 64, who wrote right here, just a quick reminder, sir, by 2027, you will be 80 years. My advice is please keep the money you want to waste again for campaign for your children and grandchildren. And I'll take another tweet here. Atix wrote, he has no consciousness of age. At age 80, what level of capacity can a man possibly have to fix a nation like Nigeria? That's the question. Ayo, are you listening? And then finally, another Twitter user, Chris, posted on X, wrote, what many Nigerians do not understand about Oga is that while others see the presidential race as a sprint, Oga sees it as a marathon. Oga takes inspiration from President Paul Biya. Nam Jesike, it means stay strong, Ayo. All right, well, before I come to you, let me just go through other comments. In the same vein, Atiku Abubakar spokesman Frank Shaibu has issued a scathing statement criticizing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's claims of progress in education, healthcare, the economy, and security during his Independence Day address to the nation, arguing that the president is disconnected from citizens' harsh realities, using vivid metaphors. Shaibu declared, the yam may be plentiful, but if the pot is empty, the stomach still rumbles. Today, Nigeria's pot is not only empty, but cracked, and the people remain hungry. On education, Shaibu argued that many pupils still learn under harsh conditions while teachers struggle with poor salaries, stating, a man who builds many huts without roof has only built shade for goats. Very plenty metaphors, Frank Shaibu. Well, regarding healthcare, Shaibu noted that Nigerians still provide candles, syringes, and drugs before receiving treatment in hospitals. The opposition spokesman also criticized the government's economic reforms, highlighting that food prices have skyrocketed, transportation costs have overwhelmed households, and many families eat less than one meal a day, declaring in another quote, if these are the seeds of reform, then the fruit is still bitter. Well, on security, Shaibu pointed to the recent killing of a Rice TV journalist, Somtochukwu Maduagu, in an Abuja robbery incident, stating, a farmer cannot boast. The bush is cleared while weeds still choke his yam. Well, Shaibu challenged the administration's claims of disbursing billions to poor households, noting that citizens haven't felt the impact. He said, if the yam has truly cooked, neighbors would perceive the aroma. Right. Well, he also highlighted the plight of Nigerian youths who, instead of thriving, are forced to sell sachet water or ride motorcycles for survival, declaring, you cannot tell a child to dream big while you steal the mat he sleeps on. Shaibu urged the government to reflect honestly on the state of the country, suggesting that anniversaries should be moments of sober reflection rather than self-praise, concluding, Nigeria is 65 years old, but our leaders still serve promises as though we are meals. And you know that Frank Shaibu, Ayo Rufai, Dr. Abati, is very good with this sort of metaphors. But, you know, most of the things that he said, I mean, a lot of Nigerians can agree with that, right?
The major issue here is that the Nigerian constitution is very clear about eligibility. It does not give you a limit as to what age you can qualify for the presidency of Nigeria. Other conditions are properly spelled out there. You must not be a criminal, you must be a Nigerian citizen. It doesn't say if you are 75 years old or 80 years old, you cannot run for the presidency of Nigeria. After all, in neighboring Cameroon, Paul Biya, who is 92 going to become 93, is still in the race, and he's the oldest monarch. Yeah, he's a monarch. That's what he is in the world, and he still say he wants to die in office. Mutharika in Malawi, who just came back as president, he's 85. Now, what is important is not about the physical age; it's about the age of your ideas. Now, in the case of Waziri Adamawa Atiku Abubakar, now there is a group, the Obedient Movement. They have been saying, to beat President Tinubu and the APC, it would be better for him to step down for Mr. Peter Obi. Now, the clarification that he has offered is that he has never said he will step down for anybody. He has been in that race since 2003. And in fact, if he doesn't win in 2027, you can be sure he will come again in 2031. What we should be emphasizing is that it is up to the Nigerian people to make a choice who they want as their president.
All right.
The choice should be ours. And that's why we keep saying that, there should be electoral reform. There should be a level playing field. There should be transparency. And it's good that he has said, if he loses the ADC primaries, he will support whoever wins. That will mean he behaving as a good party, loyal party member.
Yeah.
As for Frank Shaibu, I think he wrote that piece, rejoinder to President Tinubu, in a fit of hunger. He must have been hungry. All those metaphors. He was talking about yam, he was talking about meat, he was talking about pot, he was talking about... Look, what do you expect Frank Shaibu to say? It's not only Frank Shaibu.
So he's probably very hungry then.
Well, find him a pot of yam so that he can... Now, the president, on the occasion of the Independence Day, used the occasion to showcase his administration, to say this is what we have been doing.
Right.
What do you expect him to say? To abuse himself on Independence Day? And he said, look, Nigerians should be patient, Nigerians should expect more. He called it a message of hope.
Yeah. Okay.
The PDP who has condemned the speech. So that's just partisan talk. They will condemn it. But as for security, health, and other dimensions that Frank Shaibu identified, President Tinubu says he will do more. And we expect him to do more so that this country can be safe, so that our hospitals will not be quasi-mortuaries, so that, the freedom of all Nigerians under the Constitution will be guaranteed.
Well said, Dr. Abati. On Atiku Abubakar maintaining his stance that he will continue to, buy in for the president. That last ex-user said, Nnam Jesike.